For the first time in his career, Nico Hischier netted himself a hat trick, and the New Jersey Devils came out to play against the Nashville Predators. Worth mentioning, first time this season that they were rocking the Jersey jerseys. Say what you want to say, but they've kind of grown on me. I like them, but that's beside the point. We have a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Elliott scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed him. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, College Hockey Play Announcer, Devils Rider Pucks Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member, Trey Matthews. Like I said, we have a bunch to break down in today's episode as the New Jersey Devils came out victorious against the Nashville Predators by a score of 5-2. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say the Predators have let me down. I was really excited to see the Predators going into this season because they swung for the fences and they landed a lot of key free agents, including Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, Brady Shea. I thought Andrew Brunette did a phenomenal job in his first year behind the bench last season, and they've been one of, if not the biggest disappointment in the NHL. I get it. I don't cover the Predators, but I'm still an NHL fan, and I was really excited to see what this team can do, especially since they appeared in the playoffs last season, but they are falling flat on their face. And as we all know, NHL coaches' leashes are very small. So Andrew Brunette might be feeling the hot seat just a little bit. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the Predators' shortcomings. We're here to talk about the Devils' leaps and bounds of improvement because they came out to play in this matchup. All systems go, all gas, no brakes for this New Jersey team against the Predators right from the opening faceoff. Roman Josi and Nico Hischier going head-to-head, mano-a-mano, the only two Swiss captains in the entire NHL. You knew this was going to be an exciting matchup. What's on the agenda for today's jam-packed episode? In the first segment, I will share some of my main takeaways from the game. Then in the second segment, I will list some players that caught my eye and list my personal 3 stars of the game. I think it's quite obvious for anyone who watched the game who the first star is going to be. Then in the third and final segment, like I do with every post-game recap episode, I will compare the stats and give the Devils a letter grade. All right. My biggest takeaway from this game is that this Devils team is special. And play-by-play announcer Bill Spaulding talked about this on air. A few months back, Bill appeared on this show, and I asked him what's been his favorite moment so far as the play-by-play announcer for the Devils, and he named 2 memories. The first being him calling Game 7 of the first round between the Devils and the Rangers back in the 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs. His second one was the game against the Oilers that season in which the Devils started to string along a few wins together. And as a result, they went on a 13-game winning streak because after that game, the entire team over at MSG realized that Devils team was special. And in this game against the Predators, Bill Spaulding said it again. This Devils team, this current Devils team is special. They have won 5 of their last 6 games. They're on a 3-game winning streak. And this Devils team has done a phenomenal job when it comes to closing games. They are now 13-0 when leading after the second period, and they're 14-0 when leading within the final 5 minutes. For any of my Yankees fans who are listening to this show, call the Devils the Sandman because they're like Mariano Rivera. They know how to close out a game. Credit to Daniel Moya of the Hockey Writers for putting in that reference. I got to give him credit. I found that quite comical, so I wanted to say it on this show. Say your prayers, little one. Don't forget my son to include everyone. Sleep with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight. Exit light. Okay, I'm getting way off topic. It's a catchy tune, and many Yankees fans know that song because that was Mariano Rivera's walkout music, and you knew the game was over. This Devils team doing a phenomenal job with closing out games. But going back to my original point, I agree with Bill. Something special is brewing in New Jersey. And it started when they picked up 2 big wins in Florida against the reigning Stanley Cup champion Panthers. That was not an easy thing to do, especially since the Panthers were coming into that matchup with a 7-game winning streak. They were first in the Atlantic Division. The Devils were coming off a tough loss against the San Jose Sharks. And they put the hammer down on the Panthers, especially on the power play. And that leads into my next topic. Special teams has been phenomenal for New Jersey. Carolina Hurricanes, Florida Panthers, Washington Capitals, and now the Nashville Predators. What do all 4 of those teams have in common? All of them are among the best in the NHL when it comes to the PK. Nashville ranked number 1. This was going to be a true test to the Devils' dominant power play. How do they fare against the best penalty-killing team in the NHL? The Predators struggle in a lot of other categories, but the PK and power play, not one of them. Special teams has been decent for Nashville. And the Devils, thanks to Nico Hischier, capitalized on the man advantage. But even prior to that, the first power play opportunity that the Devils got was relatively early in the game, like 53 seconds in. They were dominating the Panthers while on the man advantage. On that first power play attempt, I don't think Nashville ever cleared the puck down to the other side of the rink. Despite the Devils not capitalizing on their first power play opportunity, they were still buzzing UC Saros. And worth mentioning, Saros is not one of the Predators who are struggling this season. He's been very good coming into this matchup. Now, Scott Wedgwood did have to come in relief in the third period, but Saros, not an easy task to go up against. And yet the Devils were giving him hell all night long. And even if the Devils didn't get a power play goal, I still would have been satisfied with their efforts because, once again, they were putting heavy pressure on the Predators while on the power play. And Ken Danico said it best on air, which is you have to respect Dougie Hamilton's clapper because if you give him an inch of breathing room, nothing good is going to happen to you. I promise. And I talked about it in the previous episode. Dougie Hamilton has been one of the biggest fixes this season for New Jersey when it comes to the power play. Because when he went down with his injury, that's when the Devils' power play got significantly worse. Stefan Nason and his net front presence. You always have to keep your head on a swivel because he's lurking right near the cage to try to tip it on in. Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Brett, they're always buzzing with speed. If you give them an inch of breathing room, they're going to find that open lane. This power play is legitimate for New Jersey. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. And they passed the ultimate test so far this season, which is scoring a power play goal against the top penalty killing team in the entire league. And on the flip side of that, the Devils were really good on the PK as well. And I think there's no greater example than what happened late in the third period. Timo Meier, he got a little too aggressive with Zachary Leroux. In Meier's defense, LaRue was trying to ruffle his feathers a little bit. Meyer got a little ticked, and he got too aggressive with his stick. And as a result, Meyer not only got a cross-checking call, but he got a game misconduct, which means he hit the showers early, and the Devils were given a penalty major. And at this point in the game, the Devils were only up by 2 goals. That's a decent amount of time for the Predators to try to get something cooking. But the Predators did not get a decent look on Jacob Markstrom. I think their only shot came from atop of the point, and it wasn't even a good look. The Devils did a good job of killing off that penalty major. And right then and there, you knew that the Devils are just an elite team when it comes to special teams. So those are my main takeaways from the game, which is there's something special brewing with this Devils team. And I feel confident saying it. And I agree with Bill Spaulding. And special teams has been elite for New Jersey because, like I said, the Predators, they struggle in a lot of categories. But the power play and penalty kill ain't one of them. All right. I'm going to list some players that caught my eye and also name my personal 3 stars of the game momentarily. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. All right. Let me list some players that caught my eye and then name my 3 stars of the game. But I think we all know who the first star is going to be. But I will get to him momentarily. Honorable mention number 1, Jonathan Kovacevic walked away with 2 assists. He got an assist on the Eric Haula goal, and he also got an assist on the Justin Dowling empty netter goal. Speaking of which, shout out to Justin Dowling for getting the empty netter goal. He's been one of the few players to replace the productivity of the injured Curtis Lazar and Nathan Bastian. And I think for what it's worth, Dowling has done a solid job. And it's nice that he was rewarded with his first goal this season. Shout out to JD. All right. My 3rd star of the game goes to Jacob Markstrom, who saw 21 shots and made 19 saves. Let me just say, yes, Markstrom gave up the first goal of the game, and I'm sure that's a goal he would have liked back, but it was a sharp angle goal from Philip Forsberg, and I think more times than not, Markstrom does make that save, but after that, Markstrom did a phenomenal job of shutting down the Predators, because later on in the first period, Eric Haula had to go off for hooking, and similar to what I said in the first segment, the Predators are a good team on the power play, and they were getting some decent looks on Markstrom. At one point, it looked like that the Predators did score while on the man advantage, but Markstrom made a last-second save to make sure that the Predators did not regain the lead. He did a phenomenal job the rest of the way. And yeah, LaRue did get a goal in the 3rd period. It was a nice shot, backhander attempt. But I think for the most part, Markstrom made the early saves in the 1st period to really take the wind out of the Predators' sails. So I want to give him credit because they were talking about on the broadcast, and I will talk about on this show, Markstrom, another phenomenal outing, and he picked up another win. My 2nd star goes to Eric Haula. He had an electric goal in the 1st period. Devils were down 1-0. About 5 minutes later, he, Kovacevic, and Mercer capitalized on a tic-tac-toe play, and it was a quick pass to Eric Haula, and he was cutting, and he found the back of the net. And that shifted the momentum back into the Devils' favor. So I got to give credit to Eric Holla. All right. Drum roll, please. Bum, 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 bum. The moment you've been waiting for. My first star goes to the captain, Nico Hischier. Nobody more deserving of the first star in this game than Nico. He got his first career hat trick, if you could believe it. And it was a natural hat trick, and it was the first time that the Devils got a natural hat trick since a couple years ago when Jack Hughes netted himself a hat trick around the same time. That is just a layer of weird on weird on weird. But anyway, focusing back on Nico Hischier. A lot happened in this game for Hischier. And I'm not just talking about the 3 unanswered goals he scored by himself in the second period. Jeremy Lawson got somewhat physical with Hischier, shoved him down to the ground, and I'm sure Hischier was pissed off because Hischier and Hughes, they're no longer underrated players. People know those are the star players for the Devils, and that's why Fitzy had to get some bigger bodies surrounding Hischier and Hughes, like Brendan Dillon, Paul Cotter, Stefan Nason, because the Devils cannot continue to let their star players get tossed around like rag dolls out there. You need to come to their defense. And worth mentioning that Lawson actually did have a run-in with Jack Hughes a few years ago. It was during the 2021-2022 season. Lawson had a big hit on Hughes, and Hughes was hurt so bad that he was actually sidelined for a few weeks. Why do I bring this up? Well, if you ask me, you need to put McDermott back into the lineup the next time the Devils play the Predators, because Lawson only played about 9 minutes in this game. The Predators said he was out with a lower back injury, but I will say, once again, that cannot happen where the star player gets tossed around like that. Unacceptable, but I'll let bygones be bygones for right now. Anyway, I think that awoke a sleeping giant because Nico Hischier scored 3 unanswered goals by himself in the second period. One of them being a power play goal. And it was raining hats at the Prudential Center, which, by the way, I have to ask this question. Are you willing to sacrifice your $30 hat just to celebrate a hat trick? For me, I'm really stingy when it comes to my money. So, like I said, a hat trick is great and all, but I don't know if I would want to sacrifice my hat and never see it again after I paid good money for it. But that's just me, but I'm not going to crap on anyone's parade. Nico Hischier had a phenomenal outing. He is now a point-per-game player, 24 points in 24 games. And at the end of the game, when he was being interviewed by Rachel Herzog, he was smiling ear to ear. And I thought he was going to shed a tear, if you ask me, because I saw how much it meant to him. It was his first career hat trick. He's always been somewhat underrated. People have always been saying that, yeah, he's a solid player, but he'll never be a star in this league. And he was a finalist for the Selke Trophy a couple seasons ago. And is he a front runner right now? I don't really know, but I think he has a legitimate case because, like I said, point per game player, Devils are first in the Metro. He's done a phenomenal job offensively and defensively. I would make a case, and if I had a vote, I would definitely vote Nico Hischier to win the Selke Trophy. But we're still very early in the season. A lot can happen, knock on wood. But Nico's been phenomenal this year. And yeah, he hasn't been scoring much as of late. But that's not really his first instinct. He knows his role. His job is to play both ends of the rink and make sure that his teammates are getting into the mix. Nico has been great, and I couldn't help but smile at the end of the game, too, when Nico was just ecstatic for getting that hat trick. If you didn't know, now you know about Nico. That's all I got to say. And move over, Sasha Barkov, because you might have some competition. Great game from Nico Hischier, and he is my first star of the game. No debate, no questions, no ands or buts about it. All right, I'm going to compare the stats, give the Devils a letter grade momentarily. But before we continue, Let me tell you guys about Game Time. I've actually used Game Time before to purchase for myself some MLB and NBA tickets. Game Time picks curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. All-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat views. Get a good view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guaranteed or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time, ladies and gentlemen. And now, let me tell you guys about Built. If you're a renter, I'd start taking advantage of Built if I were you. Here's the thing. We earn points on groceries, travel, and practically everything else we buy. But we should also be earning on rent, one of our biggest monthly expenses. Built changed the game by letting renters earn high-value points on rent and around their neighborhood. There's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and on your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points towards. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not? Start earning points on your rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNHL. That's joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNHL. Make sure you use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNHL to start earning points on your rent payments today. All right, let's compare the stats, give the Devils a letter grade, and get out of here. Like I said, from the opening faceoff, the Devils were just on it. And the shots on goal category tells a story. 46 to the Devils, 21 to the Preds. Power plays. Nashville was 0 for 5. They were given a penalty major late thanks to Timo Meier. Couldn't capitalize on it. Devils were 1 for 2 on the man advantage. Like I said, even though they didn't capitalize on the first power play, they were still putting heavy pressure on Nashville, and Nico Hischier solidified the elite power play from New Jersey in the second period. Hits 32-30 in favor of the Devils. Giveaways 20-19 in favor of Nashville. Takeaways 7-3 in favor of Nashville. Block shots 18-11 in favor of New Jersey. Time spent in the penalty box 23-4 in favor of the Devils. All right. If I had to give the Devils a letter grade, I'm going to give them an A+ because from start to finish, they were the more dominant team. Their captain led the way. They showed why they're an elite unit on special teams. Up and down, I was just very impressed with the Devils outing. They got UC Soros out in 2 periods. Scott Wedgwood had to come in relief. It was just a great outing through and through by New Jersey, and they definitely deserve an A+. That was an A+ performance. Well, let me know what you guys thought of the matchup, and also, what did you think of the hat trick from the captain, Nico Hischier, and do you think he is now a front runner to win the Selke Trophy? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X Page app at TreyMat4 or the show's X Page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day, New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys next episode. Thanks for listening once again.